It was a foggy evening when James arrived at the outskirts of Ravenswood. The village lay silent, abandoned for decades, its empty houses staring blankly like hollow eyes. A thick mist clung to the ground, curling around his boots with every step. James had been drawn here by rumors, old tales whispered in hushed tones about the house at the edge of the forest, a house where shadows moved of their own accord and voices spoke from empty rooms. He paused on the cobblestone path, listening. The wind moaned, rustling dry leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked, but it was muffled, ghostly, as if underwater. Every instinct screamed at him to turn back, but curiosity, that relentless, foolish force, propelled him forward. The house appeared suddenly, framed by the gnarled trees of the forest, dark and imposing. Windows like black mirrors reflected nothing. The door, weathered and scarred, seemed to breathe with a life of its own. James's heart thumped, slow and irregular. He stepped closer, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. He wondered, had he made a terrible mistake? Was he truly alone, or had someone or something been expecting him all along? The door groaned as James pushed it open. Inside, the air was stale, heavy with dust and decay. The walls seemed to stretch, elongating in the dim light that filtered through cracked windows. Shadows moved in ways that defied logic, creeping along the floor, crawling up the walls. Every object, an old chair, a cracked mirror, a faded painting, seemed slightly off, as though the house itself had shifted while he wasn't looking. He walked through the hallways slowly, noting how the floorboards creaked under his weight. A staircase led upwards, the steps uneven, groaning under the slightest pressure. From above came a soft whisper, barely audible but unmistakable. "Leave now." James froze. His breath quickened. He strained to listen, but the whisper dissolved into the shadows. He had entered the house seeking mystery and adventure. Now he felt like prey. He moved cautiously, touching the walls for guidance. Each step brought new sensations, a chill that wrapped around his fingers, the faint scrape of unseen claws across the floor, the quiet drip of water echoing through the halls. Time seemed to stretch. Every second dragged, elongating the silence. He climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. The hallway stretched before him, impossibly long, lined with doors that led into darkness. Shadows pooled beneath the frames, and the faintest flicker of movement made him flinch. A door at the far end of the hall was slightly ajar, spilling a thin line of cold, bluish light. The whispers grew louder as he approached, fragments of names and urgent warnings mixed with his own thoughts. They twisted his memories, repeating regrets he hadn't voiced aloud. "Why did you come?" they murmured. "Why did you not listen?" James's hands trembled as he reached for the doorknob. He paused, listening to the silence that fell like a heavy cloth. And then a shadow flickered across the wall behind him, impossibly fast. His pulse raced. Inside the room, dust motes floated lazily in the air, illuminated by the pale light. He could feel something in the corner of his eye, something that shouldn't exist, an impossible figure, half-formed, flickering at the edge of perception. Every instinct screamed at him to leave. But something, some dark fascination, rooted him to the floor. Summoning courage, James opened the next door. The room was circular, walls etched with symbols that seemed to shift when looked at directly. The floor was uneven, covered in dust and fragments of shattered objects. At the center rested a small, dark wooden box, unassuming yet radiating cold energy. The whispers converged into a single, chilling voice. "Do not open." But curiosity gnawed at him. His fingers shook as he lifted the lid. Inside lay an old mirror, cracked and tarnished with age. James peered in, and the reflection did not match him. Eyes glowed faintly, lips curled into a sinister smirk. The reflection mimicked his every move, but added gestures he did not make. A sudden cold rushed through the room, extinguishing the faint light. The shadows seemed to move independently, stretching and crawling along the walls. Every breath James took became visible, hanging in the air like frost. The reflection reached out, and the shadows responded. They twisted and coalesced into humanoid shapes, circling James, whispering fears aloud, regrets, mistakes, forgotten secrets. He tried to run, but the door slammed shut. Panic surged through him as he realized escape might be impossible. The shadows' whispers grew louder, overlapping, echoing. They called his name, mocked his courage, and whispered promises of eternal company if he stayed. The room seemed to shrink, walls bending inwards. He stumbled backward, tripping over broken furniture. The mirror's reflection laughed, a horrifying echo that reverberated through his mind. James felt his sanity slip, each second stretching into an eternity of fear. With a final surge of strength, James smashed the mirror against the floor. The shadows screamed, dissolving into the darkness, leaving only the echo of their voices. Silence fell like a heavy blanket. The front door creaked open. He fled into the foggy night, heart pounding, lungs burning, never looking back. The village remained silent, abandoned, but in the distance, a whisper lingered, carried on the wind. "Come back." James did not stop running. The mist swallowed the sound, leaving only the cold